Hello, welcome to Dungeon Dwellers Podcast. I'm your host, Justin. Welcome to part 2 of our King Kong marathon. Today we're reviewing the 1962 King Kong vs. Godzilla, which was directed by Inoshiro Honda, starring Tadao Takashima, Kenji Sahara, Yu Fujiki, Ichiro Irishima, is it me or Mia? I don't know. Hama, Shoichi Hirose, and Hiro Nakajima. Music by Akira Ifukube. It's by Toho Studios and Universal International, because like Universal helped with the co-production, which is this funny story where for some of the American scenes, um, they wanted to borrow the suits, and what happened is they borrowed the suits, they sent the suits over to the U.S. and they never came back. So I can't remember if both were stolen or one of them was stolen, but yeah, like there's a funny story where like both this like the suits were stolen, right? Which that happens often, where like props will go missing on it in like Hollywood productions. But I guess nobody got the 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 notice. Hey, they really need this back because like in this movie, well, I'll get in the plot first. The plot for this movie is, I'm just gonna read it off Wikipedia, is Mr. Tako, head of Pacific Pharmaceuticals, is frustrated with the television shows his company is sponsoring and wants something to boost his ratings. When a doctor tells Tako about a giant monster he discovered on the small Faroe Island, Tako believes that it would be a brilliant idea to use the monster to gain publicity. Tako immediately sends two men, Isamu Sakurai and Kinsaburo Fury, to find and bring back the monster. Meanwhile, the American nuclear submarine Seahawk gets caught in an iceberg. That's the one thing I kind of have a complaint, because usually U.S. submarines and like ships are named after like states or presidents and like shit like that. They don't really give them cool names like Seahawk, right? But yeah, I just I guess that's a small like nitpick. Caught in an iceberg. The iceberg collapsed, unleashing Godzilla, who in the Japanese version had been trapped within since 1955, who then destroys the submarine in a nearby Arctic military base. On Faroe Island, a gigantic octopus crawls ashore and attacks the native village, which the native village is all... They're supposed to be black people, because that's what they were in the King Kong movies. And the Faroe Island was called Skull Island in the King Kong movies. They changed the name for whatever reason. And like, yeah, the natives in this movie are Japanese people and like painted up black and wearing wigs. Except for the women. The women just look like they have tans. So I don't know what the deal is. I mean, I don't know if it was for racist reasons. Well, we gotta make the women look attractive, so let's make them not too dark. I don't know if that was the reason, but I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, the mysterious feral monster revealed to be King Kong arrives and defeats the octopus. Kong then drinks some red berry juice and that immediately puts him to sleep. Sakurai and Fury place Kong on a large raft, which is loaded with dynamite in case they have to kill him or something. Just there's a funny scene with that. Begins to transport him back to Japan. Mr. Tako arrives on the ship transporting Kong, but a JSDF, Japanese Self-Defense Force, ship stops them and orders them to return Kong to Faroe Island. Meanwhile, Godzilla arrives in Japan and begins terrorizing the countryside. Kong wakes up and breaks free from the raft, reaching the mainland. Kong confronts Godzilla and proceeds to throw giant rocks at Godzilla, but Godzilla is not phased by King Kong's rock attack. No shit, the sound effects didn't even like sound like it hit him like hard, and uses atomic heat ray to burn him, which looks kind of shitty. Like that's the thing where this movie is kind of, the special effects are pretty bad. At some points in the movie, they replace the costumes with well, I would say Godzilla costume looks alright except for the eyes. King Kong's costume looks like shit. And there are points where they had to replace him with a puppet. There are points in the movie where they replace the both monsters with puppets and like, you know, like even toys at one point when like rolling down a hill. Right? The Jadis, I'll just continue with the plot. Fuck it. So like, there's problems with the movie is like you have dated special effects. I only had the English version. I couldn't watch the Japanese version. I only had the English version on the Blu-ray. So like, yeah, you have like these in between scenes where you have American actors talking in front of the camera, pretending they're from the UN and stuff, which trying to explain shit, which I thought was unnecessary in the movie. Yeah, the special effects are pretty bad, but you know, it's like, you know, it's the 1960s, right? So you have to give them some leeway, but like, yeah, there's some really bad green screen effects. Like, all they would have needed to do was fix the contrast, but like, it could have been they might have fucked up the contrast when they restored the film. I hear that shit kind of happens sometimes. And yeah, so like, I don't know, like here's the thing. The first time around when I watched this movie, I enjoyed it. The second time around, it took me like all day to watch this because I would just get bored and pause and go off to do something and just come back and try to finish it off. It's the thing where I think I think with the old Godzilla movies, you have to marathon them, right? And that's the best way to watch them. Where I've been lately, because like when I was marathoning them from like the oldest to new, like when I was watching them in order, the special effects didn't bother me so much because the special effects would get better in each movie. Where what I've been doing is been watching like random movies in the Godzilla like, you know, franchise. So that's why I probably didn't enjoy this movie so much, because, you know, I just watched like, you know, Shin Godzilla like a week ago. In comparison, this movie is kind of garbage. But you know, it's the thing where if you, like I said, if you marathon them starting from the beginning, that's the best way to watch Godzilla. That's what I did like a couple years back, and I stopped after like the 5th or 6th movie because I got sick of watching Godzilla movies. Yeah, so I don't know if I were to give this movie a rating. Because I thought there was a lot of funny jokes in the movie. The fight scenes weren't too bad. I kind of liked how they made King Kong's arms really long. Because, like, you know, because apes obviously have long arms and short legs. Like, gorillas have long arms and short legs. So, like, they did that for this movie, which I thought was great. Not a fan of the fact that, you know, he has brown hair instead of black hair. He's supposed to have black hair, but whatever, right? The Japanese wanted to do their own thing. And the thing with the whole, like, them constantly switching between, like, model, like, for the Godzilla and King Kong, for them switching from puppets to models and figurines during their fights. I almost wonder if that had something to do with the suits getting stolen. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case, but yeah, the suits were stolen. I don't know if I mentioned this in this take. This is my second take. But yeah, like the suits were this was a pro-production between Universal and Toho. So there's scenes where the movie is shot with like American actors and shit, and the English version, which is what I watched. So they sent the suits to America, and they never got the suits back. So that could be why. And I heard Toho was really pissed off about that, especially since, you know, I don't know if it was in the 60s, but the price of latex went up. So like that's why there was like kind of huge. There was a huge like hiatus between like tokusatsu movies, right? Which Yeah, so like yeah, they were pissed off about that because they like to reuse the suits. Yeah, so I don't know if that had something to do with them changing the models and shit. But overall, I don't know. I think if I were to give this a rating, this might be a bit harsh, but I would say it's a 5 out of 10. There is some enjoyable scenes. Like I thought the music was good, the characters were fine. I thought the plot was a little stupid, but it is a monster movie. I did like the fact that the military didn't try to use brute force; they tried to use their heads, which is great. But then again, this is like their third movie, right? So they would have to learn some things. Yeah, so I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. I would say the best way to watch this movie is to watch like Godzilla, the first two Godzilla movies, and then watch this one. All right, guys, that's all I gotta say for this review. Later, peace.